guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for tonight's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. Instead of telling you guys that I have my wicked candle in here, like I always do, I'm actually going to bring back my old theme of lighting a different candle and showing you guys all of my candle collection very slowly. So this is from the brand Clove and Quartz. This one is called Dark Magic. It is a chai, coffee, cinnamon, and smoky quartz candle. This is what it looks like. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love it. The little piece of cinnamon is like falling out of it, but that's fine. The wick is like an actual wooden wick, and it's going to crackle and it's going to sound so amazing, and it smells amazing, and I'm excited. So let's light this bad boy. So we have the candle lit, and the whole room is now set in the mood for spooky season. So I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna do in the new house because I'm moving in 30 days. I just bought a house with my fiance and I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna set my studio up yet. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys want me to keep my colorful lights behind me, or if you guys want me to put a black backdrop behind me, or what you guys want me to do for spooky stories. Because I originally had it set to the purple when I was doing like makeup and beauty, and that kind of fit my vibe. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, and I will do whatever you guys want. Also, if you're interested in this cute little fire makeup look that I did today, it'll be up on my short section and it'll be up on my TikTok if you guys are interested in watching me do this makeup look while reading the creepy story from Heidi Wong. So I usually lip sync to her stories because her stories are really good, and it's easy to lip sync while doing my makeup rather than telling a story while doing my makeup. So that's kind of what I do, those platforms. Anyway, enough rambling out of the way. I have my sparkle cup in here. I'm so excited. I feel like I need to get an orange one for like spooky season. I was gonna say Christmas. No, I need to get an orange one for spooky season because blue is like summery, and I need like a bright orange one for Halloween because we are in officially summerween, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait to start going Halloween decor shopping. Also, if you guys want me to do vlogs of all of my Halloween decor that I'm gonna find this year, let me know in my comments down below because I will definitely film that for you guys if you guys are interested. But enough rambling out of the way, let's jump into these spooky stories. Let's not meet stories in this one because I have two really long stories saved from two different Reddit authors that basically had it really creepy, unsettling experiences. So let's jump into the first one. The first one is from the True Scary Story section. It is from the Reddit author Lumpy Curveballs, and it's titled My Strangest Scary Encounter Yet. I've always been a person that has weird things happen to them. It's not a matter of if something is going to happen, it's more of a when. Because of this, I've become pretty aloof when it comes to interacting with the world, maintaining a, well, it is what it is mentality. However, I feel like I was justified in being freaked out about this incident in particular. Not a lot actually scares me, but this is one of the few things that actually did. The setting was a typical scary story setting. It was around 11:30 at night, pitch dark outside, hardly anyone on the roads. I was freshly 18 and driving, and I was on my way back from a 6-hour shift at my work. I had pulled into a 24-hour fast food place because I live out of town, and I knew I would be way too tired to make myself something once I got home. Plus, at the time, I was starving. Nothing out of the ordinary happened while I was getting my food. There was literally no one else around. It was me and the drive-thru worker. We seemed to be the only people awake. What I assumed was his car was the only one in the parking lot, and it was parked close to the employee exit and entrance, which is almost right next to the exit of the drive-thru. I got my food, bid the guy a good night, then pulled into the nearest parking spot fresh out of the drive-thru, which is literally right in front of it. I parked my car and I began setting myself up for the drive home. I was unwrapping my food and putting my straw in my drink, just the usual, when out of the corner of my eye, I see the headlights of a vehicle pull into the parking lot from the farthest entrance. I pay it no mind, figuring someone else had the same idea as me. I went back to setting myself up. For a solid minute, I'm getting myself situated before I suddenly feel like I'm not alone. I look up just in time to see the same vehicle pull right next to my car, literally the next parking spot over. Mind you, the parking lot is completely empty. They could have parked literally anywhere else, but they chose to pull up right next to my tiny car, which felt more like an insect compared to this massive blacked out truck. In this moment, I jump into defensive mode and I immediately start taking notes of everything I can see. This truck is completely black. The black windows are tinted and there's enough light that I can see silhouettes of 2 or maybe 3 passengers in the back seat. In the front seat is the driver, who is obscured by the darkness, and a passenger, whose door is almost snug up to my driver's side door. He's tall and lanky, wearing a baseball hat and a face mask. He also had his hoodie with the hood pulled up over his hat. For a few moments, I just sit there, staring at the passenger of the truck, and he's looking at me. I can feel it, and I'm majorly creeped out and uncomfortable, yet frozen in place. The truck was pulled into park, and I could hear the gear change, and I saw the driver move accordingly. Me and the passenger just stared at each other through our windows. My brain was screaming for me to move, but I was frozen. The longer we sat there, the louder my brain kept screaming at me, do something other than sit there and stare at this guy. I've been in enough situations where I know that my fear response, unfortunately, is to freeze. And that was exactly what had happened. Within a few seconds, a lot happened though. The passenger moved and opened his door and began the process of getting out. My body finally kicked into gear right as I heard my brain audibly tell me, nope, get out of there. And I listened. I yanked my car into drive and I sped out of there. One hand still holding my wrap, the other gripping the steering wheel and swerving to get the fuck out of there. As I exited the parking lot, I looked back through the window and I saw the passenger getting back into his truck. I didn't look long enough to see if they'd left or not, considering there was light traffic coming up, but I'm assuming that they did. I probably broke multiple speeding laws getting the hell out of there, but I didn't care. I immediately messaged my friend and told her what had happened. And then I called my boyfriend at the time, who had been waiting up for me so I could talk once I got off work. He picked up and I told him what had happened, and he could tell that I was serious because of the tone of my voice. I did stay on the phone with my boyfriend for the entire way back to my house, and I kept looking over my shoulder, suspicious of any headlights that might be following. Thankfully, once I got off the highway and onto the back road towards my house, no one was following. I said goodnight to my boyfriend once I turned off my car, and I went inside and ate my food, and immediately went to bed, too tired to stress over the situation any more than I already was. When I told my mom about it in the morning, she just completely dismissed it. She wasn't very sympathetic to my stress for whatever reason, and just brushed it off. However, my friend that I had messaged the previous night freaked out enough for me to realize that I wasn't just being dramatic. Even now, a few months later, my friend still mentions it whenever the topic comes up. And honestly, I'm grateful she cares as much as she does. My mom's reaction made me feel like I was overreacting, even though logically, I knew I wasn't. So to the creepy guy that parked next to me and stared at me and was about to get out at like midnight, let's never meet again. That's a really creepy story. I don't really know what their intention was. The fact that it was like a big blacked out truck pulling in next to you and like they were just staring at you and then they were literally about to get out, and the second you pull out of there, they just decide to get back in their truck. Obviously they had intentions to like approach you. Not entirely sure what they were trying to do or if they were just being weirdos, but that whole situation is just kind of creepy, and I'm glad nothing actually happened of it and you didn't get followed or anything, but that's still really, really weird. The next story is from the Backwoods Creepy section. It is from the Reddit author Creek Explorer, and it's titled Strange Feeling in the Appalachia. I have always been an avid mountain person. When people say they go to the beach for vacation, I respect it, but I much prefer the mountains. Something about these old giants has always fascinated me, as if I cannot avoid but to be drawn towards them and be in awe and hike on them. After my short life, I consider that I have been on a fair amount of mountain ranges in Europe, from the Alps to Switzerland, Pyrenees in Spain, and from the Italian Dolomites to the Czech Stolwyn Mountains. Sorry if I said any of those wrong. I have always hiked and camped outdoors a lot, with my family and friends, but also by myself. Now, I went to the United States for college, and I have always been tempted to do part of the Appalachian Trail. From the stories I saw on the internet, I always wanted to see them in person. And I'm not gonna lie, I must say that the great amount of scary stories of these mountains has always attracted me a little bit. I'm definitely not a person who likes scary movies or anything, but I enjoy reading fellow mountaineer experiences, and to be honest, I mostly just read stories about the AT to know how to prep myself for when I was going to do it. The scary stories just got my attention every now and a while. That being said, I decided to go this year and do a small part of the AT. I went to do a small part between the border of Tennessee and North Carolina, with Clingman's Dome being the icing on the cake. I was a little bit hesitant to go by myself, since I am not very familiar with both the geography as well as the wildlife in part of the states. I wanted to go with a friend, or my girlfriend who is from North Carolina herself, but both my friend from Germany and my girlfriend declined because they had to work. So I decided to just go by myself since I'm graduating this year and I'm going to be returning back to Europe. I started at the place called Bryson City and walked along the Tuxongee River until I reached the Nolan Creek trailhead. From there, I just followed the trail until I would reach Clingman's Dome, and from Clingman's Dome, I would follow the AT for about a week. I had prepared well for this trip. I carried bear spray and pepper spray. I had read some freaky stories about people in the AT, and I also brought this hunting knife and an axe for wood. I had some canned food and a lot of water, plus a water filter, and for the rest, just my tent and a sleeping bag. So when I started walking away from the Bryson City and I saw the beautiful aura this mountain range had, I couldn't be happier. I'd been wanting to do this since I had arrived here in the US, and I was finally doing it. I encountered some people on the Nolan Creek trailhead who were friendly, but I had made up my mind that I would be better off alone than with strangers. I reached Klingman's Dome that same day and then went a little further before I set up camp. It was beautiful. At night, I slept a bit off the trail with a small campfire while I had dinner. The first night went super well, and I was also exhausted from the hike. The next 2 days were just as beautiful, and I saw a lot of breathtaking views. The people that I encountered were super nice. Then, on the third night, that's when everything took a strange turn. I had set up my camp just as usual, around 160 feet from the trail. No one was camping close to me, or at least not that I was aware of. While getting dinner, I just had this weird feeling that I wasn't alone. I felt like as if someone was looking at me from behind a tree. I tried to just convince myself that I was having an amazing time and I was safe, that it was just my mind playing tricks on me. I went to sleep and I put out the fire as usual. But before daylight, I woke up. And I woke up with the same gut feeling that even though I was in my tent, someone was watching me from a distance. I did not hear a single bird, which was also weird, because right before daylight is usually when the chirping starts. I only heard the wind and the leaves, and it made me feel really uncomfortable, a little bit scared even. I didn't fall asleep again, and first thing in the morning after having breakfast in my tent, I broke up camp and decided to continue on my hike. During my hike, I encountered a few people, and again, they were very nice. While walking on this part of the trail by myself alone, I felt like I was being observed. I even had the feeling as if someone was following me. So every now and then, I would just stop dead in my tracks in order to hear if I could hear footsteps. Now, obviously my mind could be playing tricks, but I swear that I heard the steps stop a second after I stopped. So according to me at that moment, someone was following me. I looked around the whole time and I never saw someone or anything, which made it even more strange. After the long day of hiking, I made camp, this time closer to the trail than usual, because for some reason, I thought it would be more safe. I had again that gut feeling of being watched while having dinner outside my tent. So I decided to finish it up in my tent and I went to the washroom in a bottle because I didn't want to go back outside. I tried to drift off to sleep by closing my eyes, but my mind just focused on hearing the whole time. And that is when I heard it for the first time. A knock, as if a branch was hitting a tree, or a small rock was getting thrown at a tree. Silence then followed for what seemed like an eternity, but probably only about 10 minutes. Then again, this time more clear. I was scared at this point and I had no idea where to go since it was completely dark. I put on a flashlight in my tent. I made myself as big as I could so that my shadow outside the tent would look a lot bigger. Thought it could be bears maybe? And I held my hunting knife in my hand. The silence had followed the second knock, but now I shouted to pierce the silence in the dark. First, I shouted that whoever was fucking around, I was armed and I was not wanting to be pranked. I thought this would scare them off, but it didn't. It was almost as if this person found it even more funny, knowing that I was pissed off. I heard another knock and immediately after a knock on what I assumed to be the opposite side of my tent. So now I was guessing it was 2 people instead of 1, and they like to pull pranks on innocent people. I tried to stay up as long as I could, but around 4 a.m., my eyes just gave up and I dwelled off. I woke up around 8 again, with the light of the sun being my savior. I first tried to hear if whoever was pranking me was still knocking, but I didn't hear anything. I shouted again, stating that I was now going to exit my tent with my knife in hand, and that whoever had been joking around should make themselves known. I walked out of my tent and I didn't see anyone. I looked for tracks around my camp, but could not immediately make something out of it. I decided to just get the hell out of there. The next part of my week basically continued being the same. At night, I would hear some knocks from different directions, and occasionally I heard what I would guess to be a little bit of humming. Like as if a person was just humming a tune. Now, I never saw anyone except from the occasional hikers on the AT. So I cannot say I saw something weird, but I never shook off this weird gut feeling of being observed and following during the rest of my hike at the AT. I am now back and I commented this to my girlfriend. She says it was probably my mind playing tricks on me and I was willing to believe her, because I never really did see anything. But I still sometimes wake up in the middle of the night thinking that I'm in my tent in the middle of nowhere and someone is watching me and knocking on a tree. And every time I wake up like this, it scares the shit out of me. So that wasn't the most terrifying story, but that is a very uncomfortable situation to be in. Like, whoever was knocking, like, let's never meet again, and why were you following me? And the fact that they followed him for an entire week, that is really creepy. I'm glad nothing actually happened of you, and it very well could have been your mind playing tricks on you, but that's really unsettling. And the fact that you're hiking for that long of a time alone is already really scary. I could never do that. That's just me personally. It seems a little bit too dangerous for me personally. I'm not experienced enough outside of my house to ever want to do anything alone. So traveling alone and hiking alone is really scary, and you definitely could have your mind play tricks on you. But at the same time, it literally could have just been a weirdo in the forest following you. Or maybe it was a spirit. You never know. Could have been something in the trees just trying to get your attention, trying to lure you out of your tent at night. And that even gives me the more heebie-jeebies. I have goosebumps just thinking about that. Oh my God, I hate that so much. This is where I'm going to end the video because we are at the 20-minute mark. So I'm sorry that this wasn't the most terrifying video that I'm ever gonna create on my channel. And these stories weren't the scariest, but they were still really unsettling. And I don't like people. People are just weird. Like, paranormal stories and ghost stories and demons and all of that shit is terrifying, but there's something even more scary about humans that I can't get past. They're just so fucking creepy. Like, they do the weirdest things, and like pulling into somebody when they're at the drive-thru just to stare at them and then try to get out of their car at like midnight, that's just creepy. Like, don't do that. It's so fucking weird. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys have any paranormal stories that you want to share with me, please feel free to either email me or send me a message over Instagram, and I will read all of your guys' terrifying tales. If you guys made it to the end of the video, please leave me your favorite nature emoji, because this was an Appalachian trail hiking theme. So leave me a tree in my comments down below to let me know you made it to the end of the video. It really does help boost my video on the algorithm, because YouTube doesn't want to promote me anymore for some reason. I don't know. They just haven't been promoting me, and it kind of sucks. So please leave me a comment down below. Please like this video. And if you guys want to share my video around to anybody that you think might be interested in my channel, please feel free to do so. And that would make me so happy. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.